Продолжаем тему хакеров и...
And we continue our topic of the hacking, and next speaker will tell us about how to catch black hackers, how the detection attack group is working, what is a virus, what is a ransomware. I'm inviting the head of the attack group's detection, Kirill Shipulin from the Positive Technologies company.
Всем привет!
Hello, everyone. Now it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot here. My name is Kirill Shipulin. I'm working in Positive Technology Company, and let's talk about invisible epidemics of ransomware. Are you playing basketball? Are you watching basketball? Anyone? Have you ever held a basketball in your hands? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And the next slide, hopefully, you will enjoy. Now, on May 11, 2017, after my work day, I went to my basketball practice. So I came to a place, I got out of my car, and I had a sport bag on one shoulder. In the other hand was my phone. And I'm just flipping through my working chats, and back then, it was a nighttime. There was some kind of discussion of a new virus, which was very actively spreading around. And all in all, it didn't make sense. Everybody was overexcited. And although the May 12th was a day of the infestation, but for me it was a Thursday because I had my practices on Thursday. It was the most famous and large-scale attack of the ransomware back at the time. WannaCry. You remember WannaCry? 1 month earlier, a group of hackers, shadow brokers, they had published the stolen and dumped archive with exploit of 0-day from the NSA USA. Yes, the country had been developing and will be developing cyber weapons, and they even give its great names. For example, this exploit, 0-day exploit, Azrael Blue, had been working in the following way. It would enable a hacker to execute any commands on a victim's computer if their computer would stay on the internet on the wrong side. When I say on the wrong side, I mean you remember when you connect to a Wi-Fi network, like a new one, and your laptop is asking, is it a private work or a public network? Like on my screen right now. So it's about the same. So, maybe hundreds of thousands of computers would be having some kind of vulnerability, like maybe compromised port or something. And then what happened? A virus. The virus began to infect those computers. And after infecting them, having gotten into a computer, the virus would do simple things. They would look all of your files and archives and not only encrypt them, but also, to encrypt them without possibility to restore. This would be in the instruction, a timer, countdown timer, and Bitcoin address where you should send money to the perpetrators. And while computer was infected, in this time it would choose random addresses and would infect any other computers on the internet. And for this kind of thing, this virus is called a worm. A worm. I do not agree with this terminology because a worm is something else. Fishing on the ground, but we cannot argue with that. And this epidemic of WannaCry caused damage worth of $1 billion. The amount is huge. And when they give this kind of million, billion, trillion, it's difficult to understand. But to give you an idea, in this year of 2024, in the Orenburg, there was a flood, and the losses were 4 times less than than the damage from the WannaCry virus.
Какие выводы можно сделать из этой истории?
What kind of conclusions we can get from this story? Number one, each state has a secret cyber weapons, and this is what it may do if people, smart or not so smart, are using it. And secondly, hackers who are doing ransom encryption, they can extort money, and even WannaCry virus. By the way, I do not know of anybody who would send money to this Bitcoin address, and they'll be able to restore their money, their data. Quite possibly because the virus was like very raw, and it was leaked into the net. But anyway, just imagine if a WannaCry would be able to collect these Bitcoin addresses $140,000. Just imagine what's going to happen if hackers will be able to decrypt data. And I want to tell you what.
Современными кибератаками
Speaking about the modern cyber attacks, I mean the ransomware. It's who is doing that? Highly organized group of hackers. They call them ransom guys. They look like IT teams, small companies, and they hire people on the internet, and they do even job interviews. They have their own managers, they have their own HRs. They're paying salaries. They have their own work schedule. They may take sick days and days off, and also they have a best employee of the month. You wouldn't believe that. How do I know that? In Feb of 2022, one researcher was able to break into one of such ransom teams and uploaded their internal correspondence from the internal server. It was about 60,000 messages, and believe me, there was a lot of interesting stuff. But I came to one conclusion, that in different periods of time, in this team, there was from 60 to 100 people working for this hackers team.
От 60 до 100 человек.
From 60 to 100 people in this organized crime group. And any story of breach or hacking or ransom, of course, it begins with a breaking into the system. And getting access to a company for hackers, it is not a problem. Basically, when choosing a target company, hackers are thinking about the total turnover or volume of this company and what this company does. For example, the company with a revenue below 100 million, hackers do not care about that. Not because they're lazy, but because the amount of ransom which they are asking, this would be a percentage from this turnover. They have a progressive scale, but basically it's from hundred thousands to several $million. And again, they do not care about smaller amounts of money. Not because they're so, fed up with money, but just imagine that in this company, let's say there was 100 people. The payroll was 100 people. Conti was the name of the hacking team. It's a quite interesting hacking team because they've had their own office, and they even would hire people on a white, place. And people did not know that they were working for criminals. Can you believe that? And there was 100 people with an average monthly salary of $1,500 a month. So we get $150,000 a month in wages only. So because you got to feed people, you've got to pay their bonuses, and the whole process of buying out or paying ransom is interesting. Usually, long negotiations are not good because the hackers are trying to keep it within 1 week or 2 weeks. Sometimes secret services may connect. In USA, this would be an FBI, and the amount of ransom during this negotiation can be negotiated down. Sometimes several times, like 5 times, 3 times. And this correspondence was interesting when one hacker was communicating with the other, with his colleague, so to speak, and saying, like, why are we decreasing the amount of ransom, like 10 times, from 1 million to 100,000? We're gangsters, we're not schoolboys.
Также, как я уже сказал, проникновение в
And
компанию
also, like I was saying,
не является большой проблемой.
to
Почему?
break into the perimeter of the company is not a problem for them, because they're not targeting a particular company. They take by numbers.
Пытаются взломать какие-то сервера.
You know, they're trying to do the mass attacks on a bunch of servers.
В компании есть аналитика. Первого
And
квартала
in our company, we have analytics in Q1 of 2024.
которая, и также мой опыт, говорят о том,
And this is also my experience, that hackers can break into some services on the perimeter,
сайт, может быть,
like a website, maybe a corporate email,
доступа,
and maybe remote access service or VPN for remote employees.
там, где подобрался пароль, например, какой-нибудь слабый,
If they were able to brute force some kind of weak password, like a summer 2024, and they're working with this password
хакер
for a long time, for example,
компании было взломано.
hackers, many companies had been broken into through the one vulnerability in the mail service. It was like a proxy logon.
Также второй по популярности
And also, the second popular way to compromise
вредоносных программ.
targets is using malware, different viruses, and
Кстати, вы, наверное, заметили, да?
by the way, you may have noticed that right here is like over 100%. Yeah, it is over 100%, this pie chart, because using malware is interconnected with the social engineering. For example,
Вечером
on Friday night,
приходит письмо.
you at your work, you get an email, like it's emergency from your boss. Open up this doc right now, check it, sign it, and send it back. And there is a virus in this attachment. The hacker imposed, like being your boss, and they know that it's a Friday night. You open the document, virus gets into your computer, and hackers get access for or into the whole company. And then those accesses can be sold on the market in darknet, and sometimes for really small amounts. Like there's a whole kind of shadow economy going on, and even those people who are getting access and people who are like encrypting, they could be a totally different groups of people.
Очень забавная история произошла с одним из
One interesting story happened with one hacker, famous under the nick Boris Yeltsin. And Nick Vazovaka. He was sitting in an airport and he wanted to fly someplace. And right in this moment on his laptop, he had a chat open with a victim. And the victim was ready to wired him the ransom, the biggest ransom, the first biggest ransom, $2 million.
Но дело в том, что в коде шифровальщика,
But in the code of this encryption, there was a mistake.
прислав дешифратор,
And having sent deciphering to the victim this kind of decipher to be able to unlock the computer, the victim was not able to get back the virtual disks. And the victim is saying, I cannot do this, my data. Give me my money back, my $2 million. To which this hacker simply closed the laptop and they never communicated again.
конечно, ошибки, как в любом программном
And of course, like in any software, in any code, any mistakes in the encryption, de-encryption, they happen. But I would like to talk not about that, but
Сколько вообще компании платят выкупы?
about how much money companies pay. How big are those ransom being paid to the attackers? In the FBI press release, they were saying that a hacker was able to make money, $200 million out of 400 requested from a victim. So every second dollar that hacker was asking from the victims were paid back, or paid to a hacker. And according to different press releases,
Группировки могли получать до
the hacking attacks would get to up to $100 million a year
примерно каждая
as ransom. And I would say every third company would pay ransom, about 30%.
Дело в том, что компании
And the point is that companies, they do not want anybody to know about this incident, and they're willing to pay this kind of big amounts of money. And also hackers, they have a lot of methods to to get the victim to pay. They call to their top managers and say, hey, we've been broken into. They can notify their business partners about this compromised company. They can even get into the infrastructure. They're, of course, deleting kind of backup copies, and they're looking for the most secret data about clients and contracts and whatever they can find, upload it to their own servers. And they say to a victim, if you'll not pay, we are going to publish this data in an open access. And big darknet groups, they have their own websites. Like DLP, DLS, I don't remember. Websites where they publish info about their victims, like a Hall of Fame, or where they send all of their data if the victim decided not to pay. My own story started with WannaCry ransomware. Even though it caused damages worth of billions, how could we be affected? Maybe some ministries didn't work, some passport issues kind of departments could not work for a couple of days, and some hospitals could be attacked in some operations. Surgeries had been, maybe some people could lose the collection of their photos. But all in all, for us who are listening about the kind of virus epidemics, we think it's more like, something far and away in different galaxy and not attached to us. But ransom has a different face, like many faces, actually. And I think that in 2022, Conti hackers attack, they've done the large-scale cyber attack ever. The Conti group attacked the whole countries. One country by the name Costa Rica. It has started on Saturday night, when usually people are relaxed and having fun. No one could stop this cyber attack, and the group attacked over 30 different ministries of Costa Rica, like healthcare ministry, education, financial ministry, and they were felt so unpunished they could even deface some websites, and on the main page to say, Conti is welcoming you, the group. They ask incredible, like $10 million. And the government decided we're not paying ransom. And the country announced a cyber war to these criminals. And the president even declared the state of emergency. And this attack, this even cyber war, went on for several months. It's hard to imagine and to evaluate a real damage which this attack has caused, but probably more than $10 million, of course. And the same kind of things would happen in 2021 in Colombia, in 2023 in colonial pipelines in the US. Those ransom attackers, they are attacking thousands of companies. And the geographical scope of those criminals is unlimited. I would compare them to their colleagues like a pirates of the 17th century, because they're also searching rich companies who are underprotected to be able to breach into and to encrypt all the data and then ask for a ransom. Who knows, maybe right now, in this very moment, we are seeing the golden age of the cyber piracy. Also, this could be compared to some kind of viral epidemics, which a certain country or company has to go through and to get some kind of immunity, digital immunity. But why only companies? Why am I speaking only about companies? I begin with the WannaCry, not just a regular ransomware. Actually, there are many of the viruses like that. And like regular biological virus, computer virus can also penetrate your computer and do two simple steps. Number one, they can delete all the backup copies. And secondly, they can encrypt your computer and ask for ransom. Amounts could be smaller, but in this case, hackers are taken by the numbers. And if you think, oh, it will never affect me, unfortunately, once in a while I'm hearing different stories of some of my colleagues and my friends that, something has been hacked, and then in the consultation, and to find this kind of decryptor would be exception from the rule. If the hackers made some kind of mistakes, Just imagine that you or your friends may lose your photos collection for 10 or 15 years. It's horrible. And the stats of our company is also relevant for private companies. They dominate in malware also through the social engineering.
Хоть и безопасности больших компаний.
Although, speaking about the big companies, of course, big companies, they have separate departments. In our cyber festival, we have several tracks dedicated to defending big corporations. I would want to draw your attention to just regular guys like you and me and give you a couple of advice. The one is quite obvious would be, please follow regular cyber hygiene. That is, double-check any links sent to you. Double-check, logs in the addresses. Do not open any inserts from those you do not know. Don't be in a hurry. And by the way, your passwords, weak passwords are a problem for security. And I could give you one advice, maybe, that it's better to have a longer password. Simply take some memory from your favorite series, and voila, you have like 15 symbols and change some letters into numbers. Take care and protect your passwords. And I'm hoping that the golden age of cyber piracy will also have its own end. Thank you.
Кирилл, скажите, а двухфакторная аутентификация поможет?
Kirill, what do you think about the two-factor authentication? Definitely. It's going to save your money and it's going to protect your networks. If you guys did not do this two-way authentication, please do this immediately and you will be in a greater safety. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kirill Shipulin from Positive Technologies.